feel far away.
I know. Yeah.
Okay, for swearing in Brian, do we go right out in here? Just down in front? Okay. Brian, do you think your daughter would want to lead us in the pledge?
I don't think she would.
Okay. I'm
Yep.
not gonna ask her.
It's the age.
I know. It's like, she's gonna be like, absolutely not.
Chloe would die. Violet would be on.
Violet would say,
Oh, you're do it. Take my picture.
okay.
All right, 5:30.
Okay, good evening, everyone.
Hello.
I move to return to open session.
Second.
Mrs. Lawson?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes. Okay, please join us as we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you all for coming. Let's see. I move to adopt the agenda.
Second.
Mrs. Lawson?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes. Okay, presentations and recognitions. The first thing we're going to do is administer the oath of office for our fiscal officer, Brian Johnson. Oh, you can't hear? Oh, really? Okay.
Is it on, the mic?
It's on. Oh, maybe I'm just
We'll
not.
project.
What? I, Brian Johnson, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Ohio, and will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of fiscal officer of Anderson Township in Hamilton County, State of Ohio, during my continuance in office for the term beginning on April 1st, 2024, and ending on March 31st, 2028. You're official.
Congratulations, Brian.
For those of you who don't, oh, can you hear me now?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
We're
For those of you
projected.
who don't know, Brian has actually been with us for since November?
September.
September, so, yeah, for a while now, but this is his official swearing in of, I guess, his new term. He was filling in, not filling in, but he took the unexpired term of Ken Dietz, and now this is the term he was elected for, so congratulations. Glad to have you. Okay, now, the next thing is the tree committee presentation.
Thank you. I would like to introduce John Halpin and Tim Kloppenberg from our tree committee. They will make the presentation for tonight.
Hi, John.
Hello.
I'm John Halpin, Chair of the Tree Committee. I just wanted to thank you guys and the staff for all that you do for us. And as you well know, the trees are our canopy, and they're the calling card that brings everybody here to Anderson Township. And I'll introduce Tim. Tim Kloppenberg will be the presenter. Thank
Hi,
you.
Tim. Thank you, John.
Thanks, John. Hi, Tim.
Hi.
Hi, Dee, Lexi, everybody.
Hi.
We are thrilled to be able to be part of the tree committee here in Anderson. We have such a wonderful community for that. And I'll have a brief presentation. Much of this is going to look similar to previous years. And let's see if, so our tree committee is really to promote the quality of life here by having all these practices that support good tree management. And we're fortunate we've got very good people on our tree committee, certified arborists, landscape architects, master gardeners, and then people like John and I who just like trees. So, but it really is just to enhance the quality of life here in Anderson. So one of the key things that we do is we have a fall tree planting program. And for this, what we do is we look at all the streets where we're doing some work. Curb work, sidewalk work, resurfacing, whatever. And we offer free trees to the people in that street, on those streets. And this year you can see there are a number of different trees that we have offered. And this is a picture of a few of them. So we always have several choices of large trees, and we encourage people to choose a large tree if they have the room, because it just absorbs a lot more carbon dioxide and gives a lot more shade and so forth. But a lot of people have a small yard and they don't want a big tree, so we always have several very attractive smaller trees also. And this is the list of the ones that we gave out this year. And you notice that the dogwood was by far the biggest and magnolia was second. They both have gorgeous flowers. I'm helping with my church as we are going to give away several hundred trees to our parishioners and neighbors. And it's interesting that the very first tree that went on ours was the dogwood that we ran out of. So people love those beautiful trees. And I do too. I've got several of them. This map shows by year where we have given the trees out. And so if you look, much of the township, most of it, have had at least once or twice some opportunity for people to get trees. Now, if you're in a newer neighborhood, maybe you haven't had to have street repair work yet. And there are a few areas that we have not hit yet, but the big majority of the areas have been hit and will probably be have that opportunity sooner or later. I would like to emphasize that while we offer everybody on these streets the opportunity for a tree, it's actually a small percentage of people who take us up on that. And it's beautiful trees, absolutely free, and a lot of people are thrilled and some other people just don't care. So one of the things we're proud of is that we're Tree City USA, and that's administered by the Arbor Day Foundation. We have been for 15 years, and we actually go beyond the basics. We qualify each year for what's called the Growth Award. And to qualify either for the basic level or the Growth Award, there are standards. First of all, as you can see there, you have to have a tree board or department, which of course we do. You have to have an ordinance. Before I was on this, I've been on this committee maybe 12 years, and the ordinance was actually written prior to that. Then you also have to pay at least $2 per capita out of the annual budget for forestry-related work. And we do a little more than that. You can see it's almost $3. And then we have an Arbor Day observance proclamation, and pretty often there's a tree planting or something like that that goes along with it. In the first few years that I was on this committee, and I apologize, my back is to you, but I have to speak this way. I was really disappointed because we cut down a lot more trees than we planted because of the ash borer. But fortunately now, it's really just damaged trees and dangerous trees that we have to cut, and we're able to add quite a few. So One of the categories for points that we get is for tree planting, and we get a couple points for that every year. We have all these. We put it out for bid. Several different companies bid for it, and different companies have had the contract different years. Right now it's Daly's Lawn and Landscaping, and they're planting 83 of these trees for now. Another thing that we can get points on is if you open up additional green space. And we were really fortunate that there was the estate of Lynn Woodward donated a little over 10 acres to us, and that is on, I forget the exact address, but it's up in the northern part of the township. And they have a lot of really big, beautiful trees there. So between Lynn and her father, they lived in the house for almost 80 years, but the house was in really bad shape, so it was removed at that request, and it's just adding a little bit more of our green space. So we now have over 700 acres of protected green space. Another thing that we do is we try to communicate about the trees. And so in the Anderson Insights that comes out every couple of months, we have done a number of articles. And you can see these are some of the topics in the articles that we did in this current year. Another thing that we do each year is we have tree awards. What we do is we encourage people, and anybody, any of you, can send in an idea that you think that a tree in your neighborhood, in your own yard if you want, is a beautiful tree. It's a great shade tree. It's an ornamental of some sort. Then, you know, we've got the fall color winner and then the evergreen category. So we have 4 categories. And we try to get as many as we can. Usually there'll be 6 or 8 or 10 trees nominated in each category. And so then as a committee, we vote on them. One of the things that we try to do is we try to spread it out around the township. Another thing we try to do is we try to select different species of trees that maybe we haven't had before, because we're trying to really encourage people to look at lots of different kinds of trees. And another thing that we have done is we have created the Heritage Center Arboretum. When we first started, the minimum qualification for an arboretum is to have 25 different species of trees and woody shrubs. And our green space inspector went out and looked and said, yeah, there were at least that many. It turned out there were about 38 species. And in the 4 years that we've had it, we've doubled that. We're up to 81 species now. And we're getting a nice sign that's going to be put up on the backside of that building that's on the site. We have QR codes on the signs for each individual tree, so anybody who's interested in a tree can look at it. And I'm just very proud of how we've done that. I had been kind of a leader on that for a while, and we've got a lot of the major trees in place that we need. And now one of the key challenges is to beautify it, because there are really a lot of opportunities for some native flowers and things. And so we've got a lady who's a master gardener, Carol King, the other Carol King, who has taken over leadership of this committee, and she is just excellent. So we're going to continue to develop this, and we hope that it becomes a great educational resource for the community. So each year we have Arbor Day celebrated, and we have educational components that we do. With the Heritage Center, we have a master plan which has guided what we're doing, and like any other master plan, usually it's good for 4 or 5 years, and then you really want to refresh it. So it's another couple of years probably before we refresh that plan. One other thing that we do with the tree committee is all the trees that we planted either 5 or 10 years ago, we have somebody on the committee during the summer go out to inspect and see how big they are, see how healthy they are. And what we're trying to do is learn better and better what species of trees do really well here and which ones don't do so well. And so by the time that we get to some of them being in their 15 years, we'll do a 15-year check too. We have, these are the people on our committee. There is one other thing I'd like to say is there are a couple of things that we have done in addition. I went to the Heritage Center today, to the Arboretum, and I noticed almost all of the trees and shrubs are doing fine. There's probably about 3 species that are not doing well. There's a cherry, there's an ash, no surprise, and a blue spruce, again, no surprise. But if you've ever walked on the 5 Mile Trail from the library down toward Clough, the first part right by the library, the township had people clear out the honeysuckles so that trees that were planted a long time ago there, very nice trees, will have a chance to grow better. And that'll be real interesting to see. And as you get much closer to Clough, several years ago, for the 225th anniversary of Anderson Township, we put in a number of trees that are species that were common here when the township was founded in the late 1700s and not very common today. And when I looked at them yesterday, every single one of those trees is doing fine, and quite a few of them are growing, just busting out of their cages, so we're going to have to get bigger cages to protect them from the deer. So if we get native species that do well, they'll do fine here. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Tim, because I appreciate it. And thank you. Good, nice presentation. I just want to mention, Tim, you mentioned the native species because I got an email about this earlier this week about, you know, when we do this, planting native species, because that's a big concern.
It is.
Yeah, okay. And so we're focusing on that.
And the native species really evolved to do well in the climate and the soil we have.
Right.
And animals and plants co-evolve. So all the little animals that the birds have to eat and all that, they thrive much better on native plants than they do on plants that came from Europe or Asia.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That was so well done. I just wanted to just take a second to thank you, John and Tim, for presenting. I love the group effort for presentation tonight. I love the slides. I love the slide that shows in color where those trees have been planted. And I just want to personally thank you and the committee at large for your talent, your expertise, and just your commitment to the greenery of this township. And to have 700 plus acres of green space is pretty incredible. And I'm very proud of that and appreciative. Thank you both.
Ms. Stone, if I may, we have seats up here. There are 5 seats in the front row. We've got a couple empty seats if anybody needs any, rather than putting out some extra chairs because we're getting too close to the exits back there. So if anybody needs a seat, please come up front. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And just to back up real quick, a couple of things I wanted to mention up the top. As you can see, only Lexi and I are here. Josh is not here tonight. This was a planned absence from 6 weeks ago. So don't think it's because you're here, he's not here. He has a fundraiser that he's part of, and their big gala is tonight. So it's Meals on Wheels, which we work very closely with the township. So it's actually kind of township business. So, and secondly, we just wanted to say our thoughts and prayers are going out to Hamilton County Auditor Bridget Kelly. She's resigning her post because of health reasons, and we just want to say we're thinking of her. So, okay, public forum. Individuals who wish to address the board just state their name and address for the record. And when you state your address, please let us know whether that's in the township or not in the township. Make your points as clearly and concisely as possible and limit your comments to a maximum of 3 minutes, which may not be shared with or yielded to others. All comments shall be directed to the Board of Township Trustees. Thank you in advance for your comments. Okay. Does anybody want to share comments with the board? We got,
Thank you very much. My name is Mark Trammell.
yeah,
Is that
speak into
mic-
the
is that mic
microphone.
on?
Is that one on?
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm the guinea pig.
There you go.
Okay.
I think you guys get close to these.
John Mark Trammell. I'm not in the township, 3110 Cooper Road, Cincinnati, Evendale. And my points are, I know a lot of people here are very concerned about Coney and Sunlight Pool. Well, I am with the Appalachian Festival, so if anyone here would like to spend time at Coney, volunteering or whatever, contact me, contact the Appalachian Festival, appalachianfestival.org. And there's all kinds of information about us. And I'm not allowed to say this, so don't quote me. But this could be the last year for the Appalachian Festival to be at Coney Island. So, but I'd like to see your support and let other people know that we are needed at Coney. And that's all I have. And I'll be just outside the door if anybody wants an application or wants more information on the Appalachian Festival. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now, anybody else?
Hi, my name's Colleen Vogelsang, 6874 Burrhaven Lane, Cincinnati, Ohio. Unfortunately, Victoria Vogelsang's been our rally person for this and our spokesperson for the Coney Islanders, and she could not be here tonight because she's on the doctorate program at NKU, and she's there for a committee meeting. I just want to say I find it hard to believe that Anderson Township trustees did not know the land at Coney Island, including the pools, was up for sale, as the trustees claimed originally. Josh Girth, I'm sorry he's not here tonight, sent an email to a representative of the Coney Islanders telling them that they have been in contact with the new owners of CSO and Mamie regarding the purchase of any of the Coney property. Unfortunately, the notification was apparently sent months after the announcement of the closing of Coney Island. I'm disappointed to know that the trustees chair, who prides himself in economic health, did not see the sale of Coney Island being a problem. Josh Girth is charged with addressing regional transportation, environmental, and economic issues. The additional traffic and addition of 25,000 people attending an event on Kellogg Avenue is a time bomb waiting to happen. Anderson Township residents will have more difficulty getting to and from places with the additional traffic. The vandalism of properties for Anderson Township residents with all the weekend festivities that they're planning, including the city ordinance for noise is 2 a.m. and Anderson Townships is 11 p.m. Multiple subdivisions are affected by the concerts at Riverbend now, let alone with Mimi and CSOs put in their upgraded state-of-the-art equipment. With an additional crowds come additional support. The Anderson Township firefighters and sheriffs will be asked to assist in covering at the new venue. This will make our firefighters, our tax-paying dollars, and our sheriffs have to serve the facility down there and not able to serve the Anderson Township residents. Additional operating levies will be asked of the residents to cover this. Shame on Anderson Township trustees, all of you. Shame on you. I only get 3 minutes, hang on. Shame on you for not protecting our community and the place we all called our summer vacation. You've taken away our voice in the matter of Coney Island, a place that was treasured and loved by many residents. I'm super sad for the residents who did not get to experience Coney Island, and I'm a little worried for those elected trustees who cannot provide a place like Coney for those of us that did get to experience Coney. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Brian at 5843 Forest Way Lane, and I'm in the township.
What's your last name?
Magnarini. And so I want to say, I know a lot of people are here, obviously, to speak in support of Coney Island, which I, too, love. Grew up at Coney Island, learned to swim at Coney Island, love it, hate to see it go. My thing is not only about losing Coney Island, but about the reputation that the stellar CSO and Riverbend and Mamie, that their reputation is going to be forever tarnished by them taking over Coney Island and demolishing it. When I saw The Who, the legendary rock band, whose frontman, well, one of the frontmen, Pete Townsend, who wrote operas, hit song, amazing song after song after song, said to the audience at FC Cincinnati a couple years ago, "Do you know how good your symphony is?" And here in Cincinnati, and a lot of the people probably didn't know, there are more rock and rollers than symphony. I tend to love both, opera, symphony, rock. Riverbend brought me to my two favorite things, nature and music. Being at an event at Riverbend is one of the most transforming, amazing experiences I think somebody can have. And when I saw a couple years ago that it was world-renowned, considered one of the best, if not the best, amphitheater in the world, symphony, one of the best, if not the best in the world. Again, what is this going to do? Memi and the CFO getting rid of a loved tradition here in this community, getting rid of that to build another facility when we have facility after facility after facility. Do we need another one? What is wrong with the facility right there that's already world-renowned? So my support is of Riverbend and what it's, and of Coney, and how their reputation will be forever tarnished if they get rid of Coney Island.
Good evening. My name is Michael Hardy. I reside at 6640 Windwatch in Winds of Anderson, which is a subdivision of 60 homes off of 4 Mile. I'm a board member and past president of the Winds HOA. I and many of my neighbors are deeply concerned about the potential changes coming to the property at Coney Island. To my knowledge, very little detail concerning the plans has been communicated to the public. What I've been able to learn firsthand from a press release dated December 13th, 2023, and an email I recently received, both from the CSO/POPs, are the following three points. Number one, the sound system, quote, will allow every note to resonate, unquote, using, quote, state-of-the-art sound systems, unquote. Based on my observation as someone living less than 6,000 feet from Riverbend, this likely means, quote, as loud as possible, unquote. But I guess I'm lucky since most of the homes in the Winds are much closer, one within 3,600 feet. Number two, the new venue will provide outdoor seating for 21,000, which together with existing venues will be used for, quote, large-scale festival events. What I was able to learn about festival events is that unlike the current concerts at Riverbend, which typically last 3 to 5 hours, festivals may be all-day, multi-day events and may include overnight camping. Number three, the preliminary design is in progress with many key decisions yet to be finalized, including the positioning for the new venue on the property, as well as traffic control. The positioning of the venue, specifically the directionality, will greatly affect the sound level reaching our homes. And while the CSO touts, quote, improved flow of traffic in and out of the venue campus, there's no discussion concerning what will happen when all of that improved flow is discharged onto Kellogg and the likely overflow to 4 Mile, Sutton, and 5 Mile. As stakeholders, we need to be included immediately in these decisions, which will dramatically affect our daily lives and property values as regards to disturbing sound levels and ever-increasing traffic problems. In summary, I would like to request 3 things from you as our trustees. Number one, do everything possible to establish a place for the township at the table where these important decisions will be made. Number two, facilitate gathering key information as it becomes available and distribute it to the township stakeholders. And finally, number three, establish a group within the township to represent those stakeholders. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you. Oh, thank you. Good evening.
For letting me speak. My name is Jane Pierman, and I live just outside the township in Mount Carmel on Tecumseh Drive. And I didn't plan to speak, so I wrote down some talking points to throw at you real fast. Louder. I'm sorry.
You can pull the mic down a little. Yeah, there you go.
Coney Island is a historic landmark for Cincinnati. We are famous worldwide. We still have the world's largest recirculating pool. Dubai's built bigger pools, but they're saltwater, so they don't count. Historically, it's been famous for many reasons. In 1961, Coney Island was the first public swimming pool to allow blacks to swim. So I see this as a racial issue in a good way. Since Anderson Township and Coney Island did something wonderful that no one else was doing, we invited the blacks in, and they've been a part of our Coney community ever since. I feel like this is also a health issue. I'm a fourth-generation Coney person. My parents, myself, my kids, and my grandkids all learned to swim at Coney Island. Most of these seniors go down there to get a little sunshine and a little exercise in the cool water. It's a health issue. We need it. We don't need to be on our phones and our computers 24/7. Yeah. We need fresh air. I feel like Coney's made it 99 years. I think that qualifies it as a historic landmark, and I think possibly Anderson can, I was a trustee for Columbia Township for 4 years, so I think maybe you can look into maybe a stop order and buy 30 days or 60 days to maybe negotiate a little bit to see if we can't pull something together to maintain the pool. It made it through 2 world wars and the Depression. Don't you think we can do something to keep it going a little bit longer? It's like a landmark and a center for Cincinnati. People come to the city from Indiana and Illinois and wherever to enjoy our pool. And we can't let it just go away. It's history for our area. I appreciate your time, and I hope you can do something to help us. We need you.
Thank you for coming.
Anyone else?
Hi.
Hi.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you tonight. I'm Catherine Amfer. I live in Fort Thomas. I live in Fort Thomas, Kentucky, but I do go to Sunlight Pool, and I felt very strongly about this. For 99 years, Sunlight Pool has survived. It survived the Great Depression. It survived World War II. It survived the civil unrest of the 60s, the closing of the rides in 72, the opening of Riverbend in 84, the second closing of the rides in 2019. It survived the Great Flood of 37 and many, many other floods. Sunlight has survived until now. Sunlight could survive natural disasters, economic downturns, cultural changes, but it couldn't survive the power of greed. I came here tonight to look at the faces of you people here in Anderson Township who allowed Sunlight Pool to die. It's really very sad. You have no idea what you're letting go. This is something that you'll never get back. There'll never be another Sunlight Pool. We'll all cry and say, oh, remember, and how did that happen? This is how it happened. And just to let you all know who live in Anderson Township, I worked for Riverbend for 8 years. I've seen what goes on there. You all know what goes on there. And I also know that the festivals that they're planning to have will include camping, will be all-night events. I've been to these festivals in other places, and they're loud, and they bring in a different element of people. And I don't know, I wouldn't want that in Fort Thomas. I wouldn't want it in my backyard. But I just feel this is just a tragedy. It's a tragedy. And it breaks my heart. I'm lucky because my children, I taught swim lessons there for 8 years. I personally probably taught like 200 kids how to swim, but they taught thousands and thousands of kids how to swim every year. I don't know where I'm going to swim now. I guess I'll go to Florence. I will not be going to Anderson. And so, I don't know. That's all I had to say. It's very emotional. I'm very sad. And so, thank you. Thank you for the time.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you. Next.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nancy Flammer. I live at 7848 Woodstone Drive in Anderson Township for 30 years. Before that, I lived in Mount Washington for 10 years. I have been a swimming member since I can remember. But I want you all to go with me right now and think about this. Who hasn't read an obituary page? I want you to think about this as I read this, okay? In today's Enquirer, the obituary is Sunlight Pool, deceased 3/21/24. Our beloved Sunlight Pool departed this world today on March 21st, 2024. She was just shy of her 100th birthday. Her battle to live began December 14th, 2023, when her new caretaker, CSO, and Mimi took her off life support. Save Coney Islanders had diligently tried reaching out to CSO, you all here at the Anderson Trustees, Cincinnati Council, Governor DeWine, state representatives, you name it, and no one came to her aid. No one. During Sunlight's tenure, she provided life-saving lessons to our countless children, swimming lessons. She gave families, no matter what your race was, your color, your age, your ability, or your disability, a place to swim affordably. Our many teenagers found their first jobs there. Where are they going now? She is just that type of pool. She found those jobs for those children. Some say she was a lifesaver, she was a constant companion, and a great source of joy. Her cause of death is listed as CSO Mimi decided that the many who loved her just didn't matter. CSO has in their mantra that they are a community service organization for others. They did nothing. So what are you all going to do now? Where are we going to go? Where? What's going to happen to our teenagers? I mean, really, what's going to happen? Our quality of life died today because of deference to the money brokers of CSO and not taking a stand for Anderson Township. Thank you.
My name is Kathy McMahon. I'm from the west side. Live at 2903 Work Road, so I'm 45211. And this is a very emotional topic. I can't go into my story because that's 2 days long. I've been there 45 years. Someone said, you should come down to Coney and teach swimming. I worked at a YMCA, and I said, oh, I don't want to work at that pool. It's too big, and it's open while you teach. And then they said, you should lifeguard. I said, no way, that looks like chaos. I ended up lifeguarding there for 5 years, and I've been teaching there for 45 years. This would have been my 45th year. So when I've met my husband there, it literally changed my life. I was in a different degree in college, and the moms at Coney who I was teaching the children said, you should be in education. I ended up teaching phys ed at Guardian Angels for 17 years. Yeah. I met my husband there. We got married. Our wedding reception was at Coney. We have 5 children, that 2 of them lifeguarded there. Our dog's name was Coney because they wanted Coney year-round. So that was the only way to have Coney year-round. The day that the news came out, I thought it was like a joke. I thought like, wait, what? How could I have missed this? I worked there this summer, and I actually cried for 4 days, and I would look at my husband midway through the day, and I said, what's wrong with me? What is wrong with me? It is a mourning process. This is a grieving, because I'm losing like hundreds of people that I'm not on Facebook or Instagram. I will never see again. And I'm really here to promote the health and the physical and mental health that Coney provided. You don't know the people that came there, whether they were retired or some people were survivors of cancer, and they called it their happy place literally every day. This is my happy place. And it was mine too. You walked in every day, and I would walk in with another instructor, and we're like, wow, there's that smell of chlorine. And look at the water's blue, and it's just, and all these wonderful people, and everybody was happy. You were in this own little world of just happy. Nobody was talking bad about people or anything. It was truly, and I just feel like in our mental health crisis, where do you get that? We had a man when my husband and I first started lifeguarding that was a survivor of the Holocaust, and he sat over by the Zoom flume, which no longer exists, and he brought a chessboard, and he played chess with the lifeguards on their breaks and anybody else, and he handed out hard candy. and it was his happy place. This is where he came because he felt safe, and how do you explain that? Coney has a soul. It's hard to explain that to anybody that hasn't experienced that. It's a soulful place, and we just all feel robbed. This is a very emotional thing. It's hard to explain. I actually feel sorry for some people who've never experienced it, because how do you share this? So I don't have any statistics or reasons politically why. It's just an emotional appeal that I really see the mental and physical health. I taught thousands of kids, hopefully saved some lives, hopefully just taught them to love water and love swimming and be safe. So thank you for your time. Please be with us.
Hello, I'm sorry. Christine Bishop. Hi. And
hey, good. Hi there.
We live at 435 Hilltop Drive, Mount Carmel. So I used to be a resident in Anderson, and we have never had a summer without Coney. So this is really devastating to us. Families need Coney. And I'm just asking and pleading if there's anything you can do in your power at this point. I'm not giving up hope. We're not giving up hope. We're going to continue to pray. Excuse me. So kids need Coney. We need this pool. We need this wholesome family. I mean, family activities are getting taken away. And so anyway, but we love Coney, and Kathy she taught me how to swim there, and that was awesome. So I think this was a divine appointment, Kathy, today. So I'm going to read something that was sent to me. Do you want to say anything?
Kids need Coney. It'll never be the same summer without Coney, and we need Coney.
Thank you.
Okay, this is something, again, if we can, anyway, I'm going to read this. The mayor and vice mayor of Covington have been negotiating with the CSO for 3 years over noise from the Brady outdoor concert stage on the Ohio River. Covington residents and businesses have endured loud noise, including gratuitous obscenities from across the river. We have talked to residents of Covington. One describes windows shaking. Another commented that you could not unhear this inside her home. Our friends in Covington report that the CSO did not do the required sound test as part of the proposal for the project before completion. Thus, the city of Covington has hired a professional sound expert, and they report that 5 tests over 3 years have revealed no improvement in the noise level. Covington is preparing a lawsuit for violation of the noise ordinance. A press release from MEMI on the new amphitheater quoted, "The new music and entertainment venue will be designed to captivate all senses, boasting a state-of-the-art sound system that will allow every note to resonate. We hope that the City of Cincinnati and Anderson trustees will assure that they insist upon having control on the noise coming from this venue to protect Anderson Township residents who live up the hill off of Sutton Avenue, 4 Mile Road and 5 Mile Road, including areas such as Windwatch Drive and the Watch Creek subdivision, the Watch Hill subdivision, among others." So please take that into consideration. Thank you.
Hi, this is my first time ever at one of these, so bear with me. My name's Lauren Hendricks. I live at 7211 Bridges Road, literally right up the street. I like to say I'm a third-generation Coney Islander. My grandfather went there, my mother, and my sister, and me, and my brother. Whew. I learned how to be a lifeguard there. It was my first summer job. It's a place that means a lot to my family and to the community around us. I am a social work major at Northern Kentucky University, and one thing we do to discuss is having a third place, a third area, someplace you don't go to work, someplace that's not home. We don't have that many of those, especially around here, because we don't have a beach, we don't have mountains. We have the river, and we have Coney Island. And taking that away is going to negatively impact especially kids my age, kids younger than me, because that was a place that they could go. They can't go to malls anymore. Those aren't safe anymore. Coney Island was a place that was safe because it's regulated, parents are there. There's thousands of parents there. In my social work major as well, one of my friends works with children, and in the summer, they take their kids to Coney Island because that's where those kids can go and swim, because there's not pools that they can take hundreds of kids to. And Coney Island was built that way. It's built to be a place that kids can go to and families can go to, and kids of all ages, whether they're 7 months or 70 years old. And now, and I don't know what you guys can do. I'm hoping there's something, because I know from my own personal experience of learning to lifeguard there and working there, that was a place people go. It was a community. People who have been there for generations go there. I remember working in the snack shack there, and there was a group of older gentlemen who would sit under the umbrellas. They called it their country club. This is our country club, because it was their place to go. Or my sister was a lifeguard there. Some of her best friends she still talks to this day are from there. We did not go to school around here. That was our connection to this area.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time. My statement will be brief. I'm Mike Hills. I'm a public school teacher from across the river in Fort Thomas. And for nearly 40 years, my wife and I have combined trips to Sunlight Pool and Riverbend concerts. We always coupled that with a meal somewhere on Beachmont Avenue, breakfast, lunch, dinner. And since we have vowed never to attend a concert at the new place, we don't we don't have anything against Anderson Township. I mean, this is a wonderful community, great people. But I mean, from now on, there's simply no reason to come over. From a practical standpoint, there's no reason to come over to a Beachmont Avenue restaurant anymore. So thank you for your time. I just want to thank all the wonderful people that I've met through this. Chuck, I'm going to leave some people out, but Chuck, Nancy, Natalie, Catherine, the list goes on and on. I know I'm leaving people out, but thank you for your time. I'm out.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Sally Gaylert, and I live in Mount Washington. I've been swimming at Coney for many years. I swam 100 miles in that pool last summer. I'm a lap swimmer, and there's a lot of us there that train in that pool. In 1936, it was the home of the Olympic trials. I'm here today because swimming is the one thing that we have in a sport that saves lives. We've had a lot of kids that have learned how to swim, and as a result of that, they've gone on to do really great things. My daughter was on the swim team there. She's also a Marlin, but that's not the point. Today, you're allowing the Cincinnati Symphony Orchestra to destroy a dozen rec center pools. That is how many regular-sized pools fit inside Sunlight Pool. Digging a pool costs between $80 and $250 a square foot to dig in 2024. Sunlight Pool measures 200 feet by 401 feet, which equals 80,200 square feet. On your watch, you're allowing the Cincinnati Symphony Orchestra to destroy a community pool that serves thousands and is worth $6 to $20 million. Is the symphony going to pay to have more pools built? Show some leadership and stop them. You don't need to have historic designation powers. Cincinnati City Council didn't give that to the CSO to save Coney or Moonlight Gardens. Show some leadership, represent your community, get the destruction stopped.
Hi, I'm Jean Miller, 6987 Golden Gate Drive in Anderson Township. I don't know if you can hear me or not. I really was not going to speak today. I was not prepared, but I just feel like there's a few things I need to ask. When did you know this was going on? Because it was quite a shock, obviously, to all of us. I find it hard to believe that a process like this would have been done without the township knowing. Did you step in and try to do anything to talk them out of it or put some money where our mouths are? We have tax money that they keep raising. Where is the help for something like this? It seems minor to some people, but for those of us who have favored this for so long, and really, how do you ever, like you say, replace it? You can't replace it, as you all know. But I would like to know, and maybe you can't answer that tonight, but we would like to know what input you had, and could there have been more that you would have done? Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, everybody. My name is Tim McMahon. I live at 2903 Work Road.
I don't think they can hear you. Hold your, yeah. There.
Is that better?
Yeah.
2903 Work Road, Tim McMahon. Joined Coney when I was 11 years old. Guarded there for 5 years. Probably got me into college. I was a springboard diver. It's a place that's already been mentioned. It's 201 feet, or 200 feet wide, 401 feet long. It's 2 million gallons. It's the only one in the world. We don't dig where an owl lives. We don't disrupt nature where some fish lives. But you're going to allow something like this? I've got friends there that I've been friends with since I was 11 years old. Chris Farrell. We all swam together. This is a place that is magical from a lot of perspectives, but some of my best friends are people that I worked with there. I learned a lot from them. I've grown up with them, and that's going to be lost. This community is losing a place that doesn't exist anyplace else in the world, and that's a sin. It's an absolute sin. All the articles in the paper about we can't find somebody to run it, I can tell you right now, I know 5 people that can run that place. But what has to happen is it's got to be stopped. The destruction of the pool has to stop before it is too far gone. Because we can get in there, we can do what needs to be done, but it has to happen now. Have any of you ever been there?
Yes.
Yeah? Yeah? And you don't see this as a travesty? You don't see this as something that the whole world is going to lose this. Not just Cincinnati. There's no place else like it. And we're just going to let it go. There's got to be a fight. There's got to be a fight.
Hi, my name is Jessica Ebert. I used to be an Anderson Township resident, and I now live just across the border in Mount Washington, 6552 Ripplewood Lane. I'm a public school teacher, and I have 5 children. I have 3 summer babies. Summer would find me with a newborn strapped to me in the pool with my young kids. This is where we've gone every summer, and it'd be one thing if we knew Coney is going to close and it was up for sale and no one wanted it and it languished for months and there was nothing people could do. We all found out one random day in December that it was over. And there was no one, where was the voice of somebody saying, this was wrong, the way that this was done. It is wrong that no one's being listened to. It is wrong because we all know that it's the money that is driving this, and people like me who are regular people, school teachers with families, we don't have anywhere else to go, and we need someone to be our voice And that's what you can do, is you can speak up and say, the way this was handled was wrong. We need someone to say that for us because we are not being listened to, and we need someone who has voice to speak up for us. Thanks.
Hi, excuse me. Very emotional day today. My name is Natalie Crystal. I live in Mount Washington, 6240 Beechcrest Place. I'm sorry. I work at Anderson Library. And last night I was at the Mount Washington Community Council and asking them, as a representative of the Save Coney Islanders, if they would send a resolution to City Hall opposing demolition of Sunlight Pool. And they voted unanimously. At their meeting, they scale their, motives for their motions for things they want to do for the community by this scale, by 1 to 5. So I would like to open this up to everybody. 1 to 5 for Sunlight Pool. Does it benefit many people? Yes. Lasting benefits. 5. Improves quality of life. 5. Improves neighborhood physically. 5. Inclusive. 5. And I would say 10 for all of these, actually. Uplifts children. And connects people. These are the values that they use at Mount Washington. What are your values? Do you value these things? Because you could send a resolution to City Hall and halt this demolition. That's what we're asking. I think you should use this. I think you should use this as an opportunity to be leaders. And we could redesign Coney Island and open next year Sunlight 2.0 for the 100th year anniversary. We're all here to help. We have the resources. We are all willing to help. Please do that. Thank you.
My name's Chris Farrell, and my fellow guard, Tim McMahon, and his wife, Kathy, I'm happy to see here. But last night, and last week, my wife and I were chatting with a local Anderson hero, Brewster Rhodes, of the Ohio River Way Project, and we were interested to hear some of the early ideas being batted around regarding what the township might propose to the CSO as a memorial to a true Cincinnati hero, Marion Spencer, whose efforts desegregated Coney and Sunlight Pool and opened them to her family and all other African Americans. Brewster mentioned a reflecting pool with signage along a freedom trail showing how far we've come after her first steps for civil rights, and that sounded truly like a nice idea. But memorial signs and walking trails that are closed behind the gates of a private music venue or only open to high-priced paying customers doesn't seem really like a way to memorialize Marion Spencer. I had hoped our trustees might propose to the CSO a plan to somehow include Sunlight Pool as part of a living memorial exemplifying the very thing that Spencer fought for. A place where people of all colors, ethnicities, sizes, ages, religions, and economic backgrounds could come together and swim together with their families in a healthy environment. Swimming was always an important part of Marion Spencer's life, the woman we want to honor. She swam regularly into her 90s and lived until the age of 99. Her husband, Don, was a dedicated swimmer too, and he lived until age 95. I know the Spencer family was probably told that having the pool itself as a living memorial was out of the question, kind of like going to Coney Island was for the Spencer's young boys back in the early 50s, but that a reflecting pool and maybe some signs and engravings might be all they'd get. Actually, I wouldn't blame anyone who suffered the indignity and the hardship of racial discrimination through a large part of the 20th century at Coney Island if they felt that paving over a place of pain in the past might be the better way to go. And I think the CSO leaders might want, above all else, to have a parking lot above our old pool and a sanctimonious paved memorial for concert goers to walk along, concert goers who won't remember, concert goers who won't stop and read those signs. But I didn't want that. I value the variety of swimmers at this island we call Coney in our township that is 90% white. I vote in the next election in this township, I don't want to hear about diversity, equity, and inclusion from any of you. I wanted to live it, starting at Sunlight Pool, or maybe the Marion Spencer Sunlight Pool. Thank you.
My name is Brian Helpenstein. I'm from Maysville, Kentucky, 506 East 2nd Street. And my friend Lori asked me to come up here. She drove me up here and herself. It's an hour away from here in Kentucky. The last time I spoke publicly in the Mason County Fiscal Court, I was told by the county judge executive, who was the chairperson, to sit down twice. He told me to sit down like a dog. I was talking about a new animal shelter, and he told me to sit down like a dog twice. So I appreciate the atmosphere here of you all giving people a chance to talk. All of you all back here who have spoken, you'd be in where I'm from, you'd be in jail. You'd be taken out in cuffs and everything. You'd be escorted out. The person, the biggest businessman in Maysville was escorted out by the police like 2 months ago for just speaking his mind. So you all have it pretty good over here. And after the Civil Rights Act, our public swimming pool was filled in with cement. They poured cement in it to stop the desegregation. And the only place anybody had to swim after that was the country club. So we see what they did there. And it lasted for a long time. And in the late 1970s, my parents took me to Sunlight Pool. They said, we're going to the biggest pool in the world. They might not have used the word recirculating. They said, we're going to the biggest pool in the world. I got there and saw that. And the only bad thing Sunlight Pool ever did to and for me was it ruined all my other experiences at other pools. Everything else is inferior. Every other pool has been inferior since then. So that's the only bad thing. The good things, the three good things I can think of: I'm a recovering addict. I got addicted to drugs. I've been clean for over 17 years now. And it's not about me, but they've come to conclude that addiction is caused by childhood trauma, dysfunctional families, and abuse. None of that ever happened to me there. The worst thing I ever saw there was 1 year Japanese beetles took over, and that helped me with the insects to get over that fear. But they say that the solution for addiction is connection and social remedies, and which Sunlight Pool has. Number 2, swimming. What better place can there be to teach our children and grandchildren how to swim? Many people have already said that. Vitamin D. I'm vitamin D deficient. Where else can you go to get more sunlight than right there? It's called Sunlight Pool, probably because you can't get away from the sunlight. I don't know what I haven't said. Looks like my time is. Again, thank you all. I'm in no position to make requests or demands. Maybe there's nothing we can say that can stop this. I saw where they're already chewing away at it, but at the least, build another one. I mean, at the least, because there's maybe nothing we can say today to stop this, but can we have another one? Thanks.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Rebecca Strand. I'm at 6249 Dawes Lane in Mount Washington. I grew up in this area of town. My cousin Greg Strand was a lifeguard for probably a good 30 years at Coney Island. Yeah, I said I grew up in Anderson. My cousin Greg was a lifeguard at Coney Island for probably a good 30 or 40 years. I'm a Cincinnati public school employee. And as such, I have a lot of interactions with the young children. I work in schools in Lower Price Hill and Coreyville, a high population of Hispanic children from Guatemala and African American children. Lately, since this happened, I'm a speech language pathologist, so I like to engage the children in storytelling. I've been asking them about what they're doing this summer or what they did last summer. And 8 months on, they tell me about their stories of Coney Island. And even today, I picked up a child. I had him tell me a story last week. I picked him up. What did he start with? Coney Island. These are families that don't get to go on vacation. Ask them where they go on vacation, and they say, what's a vacation? they go to Coney, and they look forward to that day every year. And also, most of these children, the rate of drowning increases exponentially in children with lower incomes, children of color, and yet these children are out at the pools, exploring the water, enjoying the water, learning to swim, wanting to swim. The local pools, I have had several emails with Josh. He said we have city pools. There's access. If you're worried about access, we can encourage development of the city pools. What's up with the city pools? They're smaller. They have limited hours. And not the accommodations of an all-day event where you can bring your extended family. Then there's the club down on Red Bank Road. You have to buy a large membership just to go to the pool. The Y, a little bit more reasonable, but can you up and take your whole family there? No, you all need memberships. I'll just go ahead and read some stories from the children. This is an African-American student from Corryville. I like to do at Coney is swim and use the bucket, and the water dumps on my head. I went down the slide with my mommy and my cousin Anaya. My head fell in the water and I couldn't get up. My cousin, she couldn't see me and she was looking like this, and a lifesaver helped me. She's learning about water. She's learning what happens when you go underwater. Oh, wow. I have one more story. Okay.
Thank you.
That's it.
Thank you.
All right.
Kathy Deerdorf, 2193 Finnegan Lane. I was not prepared to talk, but I just had a thought, and my little friend next to me put this bug in my ear to get up here. All over social media today, they show that they are beginning to destroy our pool. There are pictures all over Facebook of them with a steamroller taking out the island. Sad in itself. I drove by there the other day. They have blackout curtains all around the fencing, so nobody can really see what's going on. It's like they're embarrassed. They're ashamed. They are doing this, it's like covert. And they know they're wrong. They know the township, they know the community, they know people in the surrounding states are against this, but they're carrying on. And the very day we decided to come here and talk to you nice people is the day they bring out the destruction material, so everybody thinks it's too late. We can't stop them now. You know, don't go see the council, or don't go to your township. Don't bother anymore, because it's too late. Our minds are made up, and we're going to destroy your pool. So the whole thing stinks. It's just like they know they're wrong. They know we're not going to go for this, and they're trying to get away with it. I feel like I live in a third world country the way they're behaving. So please, you guys, do what you can, okay? We'll love you forever if you do.
Thank you.
My name is Shirley Lustig. I live at 6749 5 Mile Road. That ring a bell with somebody that lives on 4 Mile Road? Uh-huh, yeah. When I first moved here 4 years ago, my husband was still in Baltimore. And I can remember laying in bed, and around 9 o'clock, I go to bed early, around 9 o'clock, I heard music. I heard loud music on 5 Mile Road. I didn't know where it was coming from. But you know what? I know now where it comes from after living there 4 years. You can hear it. And I live up just north of Bernie, 3/4 of a mile, just to tell you exactly how far it is. 3/4 of a mile. And that's only with the sound systems that are there now. If they bring in sound systems that are high tech, am I still going to be able to go to bed at 9 o'clock at night? I mean, come on. As I said, I've been here 4 years. I've moved like 5 times. You know, a lot of us have moved 5 times for our husbands and keep it going. And I can honestly tell you that I wasn't all that thrilled about coming here. Our daughter lives here, but she didn't have kids or anything, you know? Why am I moving to Cincinnati? And then I found the love of my life, the pool. I've been at the pool, well, last year, Sally and I used to go every day. When I first swam the first lap, last May 26th, if you're taking notes, the temperature of the water was 68 degrees. And I swam in that water. I had this big goal that when I turned 75, I was going to have a big day for it. And my husband said to me, well, what do you want to do to celebrate your 75th birthday? I said, I want to jump out of an airplane. He didn't really think that was a good idea because 12 years ago I fell and broke my back.
Thank you, ma'am. We have a lot of people that we have to get through.
So, I swam 85 miles.
Okay. Thank you.
It is the love of my life. When we got word that it was closed, my husband wouldn't even tell me because he knew how devastated I would be.
We appreciate your comments. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Peggy Stark. My address is 539 Commonwealth Drive. I live in Milford. I hadn't planned on speaking tonight, but we all know how wonderful Coney is, the people that are here. All of us are grieving for what we've lost. But what I want to talk about is this experience of not having anybody speak up for the people that wanted Coney to stay. Not the media. I have written probably 25 letters to people that are in politics. I got 2 responses, and the responses said, we can't do anything. And I'm mad about that. You all are supposed to be representing the people that voted you in, and what have you done? All we get is we can't do anything or silence. The media has been the same way. It's been so slanted how they've been reporting. I've written letters to the Enquirer about the slanted reporting. No response. Nobody would speak up for Coney. Why?
That's not true. The media wants Coney. They've been writing a lot of stuff about Coney.
Okay, let's finish this comment.
Some of the media comments, particularly in the Enquirer, have been very slanted, I feel.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anybody else?
We got 2 more?
Real quick, I wasn't expecting to say anything, but I'm actually from Northern Kentucky. We've been going to Coney forever.
What's your name? What's your name?
My name's Maria DuPont. Been going to Coney forever. I second everything everyone said, and probably the most surprising thing about this is that this really isn't a controversial issue. I know, all the people behind me, I'm sure we all have different political backgrounds and ideologies, and honestly, you guys have nothing to lose. And, like everybody said, we just need somebody to speak up for us who has a little bit of more power than us, because we're all just average Joes. That was just one other thing I wanted to add and piggyback off of what she just said. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Antonio Paulo, 40-year Anderson resident. Now, you've all heard the love for Coney from everybody. I'm not going to tell you mine. What I am going to tell you is, if you would go to our website, you would see how many signatures that we have. And everybody's, like they said, they're all ignoring those. Now, there was an article on our website where we were willing to put up our own money to buy the pool. And I'm sure quite a few people pledged their own money to buy it. So I don't know what happened to that. So you could see where we're coming from, why we want this pool so bad that we were willing to put up our own money. And then, like the lady said, we called city council, we wrote letters, we wrote. Nobody came calling, nobody. But they will come calling when they need a vote. You can guarantee that. And then one more thing that I have to say is for the CSO, MEI, you should be ashamed of yourself for turning your back on the senior citizen and all these kids that deserve that pool. Yes. Anderson doesn't have anything like that. There's a 2-year waiting list for any pool in Anderson to even get in there. Yeah, you can go to the Y, but the Y doesn't open up at noon. Who wants to go to the pool at noon? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good evening. If anyone can't hear me, just let me know, because I'm usually loud, but hopefully you can all hear me. So I had no intention
What's your name?
to speak.
What's your name?
Greg Flammer, 7848 Woodstone Drive. I had no intention of speaking here tonight, but a couple things that I do want to say. The first thing is, if you could have done something about this and did not, shame on you. Shame on you. CSO has shown to be one crappy neighbor and a representative of Cincinnati who begs for money every time they get a chance. Now, if everybody could just do me a favor, if you're here for Coney Island, please stand up for me. This is Anderson Township, not CSO, not anybody else. These are regular people coming up here. Half of them you can't hear, but they're regular people. They're every day in Anderson Township. They're at Panera Bread. They're at Chick-fil-A. They're regular people that have had something their whole lives. It's important to them. And again, if you could do something and didn't, you got to sleep on that one. Now, family to me is the most important thing in our world. Our world is screwed up. Family is being taken away. You are taking thousands of children, thousands,
Okay.
to use Coney Island.
So loud.
Now, I can be as loud as I want, right?
Yeah, but it's hurting people's ears.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you all hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just
I will try to be
down just
quiet.
a little bit.
But I will tell you this. Can any of you go anywhere on a Sunday afternoon with great-grandmother, grandmother, parents, children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren and sit on the side of a pool with your family, generation after generation? And how many of those people, how many of my grandmother are going to go to the concert? None. But I'm telling you, again, this is Anderson Township. This is who you represent, not CSO so they can make a bunch of money. Thank you.
Okay. What time is it?
It's 6:50.
6:50?
Yeah.
I'm closing at 7.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to allow maybe 2 or 3 more, because we got it, by 7 o'clock, we have to move on. Okay? Just so everybody knows.
My name is Lori Fulton Brookbank, and I live over an hour away in a little town called Maysville, Kentucky. One thing that I want that I don't think... My name's Lori Brookbank, and I live in Maysville, Kentucky, 1086 Ashwood Drive. And one thing that hasn't been said tonight is the impact, not just... This is a regional thing. I have been coming here since mid-1980s to Coney Island, and it means it's like a person to us. It's a living thing of love, joy. Let me get this back on here. And you know what? We're not giving up just because they came today and backhandedly dug their holes and did that. We do not. We are asking you to please, in the bottom of your heart, consider what will be lost. And you know what, and I've known this since Beachmont Mall. This is a place that people, not just here locally, it is so well loved that if there is anything in your power that you can do to save this wonderful, best thing about Anderson Township is Coney Island. How could you ever consider this? Is like, it's insanity to a lot of us. But please put a stop work order in. Do anything emergency wise, because this is the people. It's not a big corporation, but people do matter. Please consider stopping the demolition of the pool. At least we can talk more instead of letting them complete this. Please.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, couple more.
Hi. My name is Natalie. I am from Loveland, and I'm a speech therapist within the school system. I am incredibly saddened to think of all the kids and people who will not be able to experience this place anymore. You have such a special place right in your backyard. You have the unique opportunity and the privilege to step in and use the leadership and the platform that you have to save this pool that is truly one of a kind. It is a pool that is 99 years old. I'm not sure about you, but Coney has been around a lot longer than me. If this pool could only talk, think about all the words of wisdom this place would share. This is a place that provides a sense of community across generations. How many places allow for this? I personally can't think of too many of these places. Coney allows families to have a vacation all summer long. With this venue that the CSO wants to build, the tickets will be expensive and will be more expensive than the cost of membership for an entire summer. For one ticket versus entire summer. What you are doing is hurting families. And families are a vital part of the community around us. CSO is looking for an attraction to draw crowds. However, look at what you have right now in Anderson. CSO is getting money from the state to fund this venue. I am not a taxpayer of Anderson. I am a taxpayer of the state. I am floored that my hard-earned tax money is going to the destruction of this pool. Look at the support that is here and all the members of your community that are here looking to save this unique place. Listen to your community and use your voice to do something that you know in your hearts is wrong. To save the pool is what is right. You have the unique opportunity and platform to do that. Please, please think about that.
Thank you.
Okay.
I've got two more, and then we're at 7.
My name Okay, what time is it? Okay, you, and him. Then it's it. We're cutting it off. And Kevin, you're talking on a different subject, I assume? Okay. Okay.
My name is Stephen Gabus. I live on Eversole in the Township. My fiance and I have only been here for about a year. Is this better?
Yeah.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen of the board, today I come to you with a heavy heart and a deep sense of urgency. Our beloved neighborhood, a place steeped in history and cherished memories, is facing a threat that could irreversibly alter its character and charm. I speak of the clandestine sale and construction of a new concert venue, a decision made without public knowledge or feedback, and the dire consequences it brings. First and foremost, let us address the issue of increased noise. Imagine the loss of peaceful days and evenings we have long cherished. Now envision those days and evenings have slowly vanished in the number and overrun by the deafening roar of the amplified music. The blaring horns, the constant rumble of traffic congestion, our once serene haven will be transformed into a cacophonous battleground where peace and quiet are but distant memories. Furthermore, the onslaught of traffic that accompanies such development is not to be underestimated. Our streets, already barely maintaining daily traffic flows, will be pushed to the brink by the influx of concert goers and event attendees. Gridlock will become the norm, turning simple errands into frustrating ordeals and endangering the safety of pedestrians and cyclists. If any one of you have experienced the chaos of leaving Riverbend after a concert, you will understand the image I am trying to portray. As a resident that uses Kellogg and Sutton daily, the amount of frustration I endure fighting concert traffic has reached its breaking point. I simply want to get home, and yet I am forced into an involuntary game of follow the leader through fields and side roads. But perhaps the most heartbreaking of all is the loss of this historic landmark, a cornerstone of our community, identity, and heritage. This venue, with its rich tapestry and stories and memories, is not just a parcel of land. It is a living testament to our shared past and a link to generations gone by. Its demolition in the name of progress represents a betrayal of our collective history and a disregard for the cultural fabric that binds us together. We cannot allow our voices to be silenced in the face of such disregard for our community's well-being and heritage, all for a company to increase its bottom line. We must demand transparency, accountability, and meaningful public engagement in decisions that shape the future of our neighborhoods. Our history, our peace, and our quality of life are not bargaining chips to be sacrificed at the altar of unchecked development. An additional concert venue is quite simply overkill. Does CSO and MEMI really think they can attract larger acts with a new concert venue whose proposed seating is only a mere roughly 6% increase in what is currently available? To put it into perspective, Paycor Stadium can hold 65,515 and has an infrastructure built around it to accommodate those patrons. Can anyone tell me how many concerts Paycor hosts annually? The answer is not enough. If Paycor cannot attract larger acts consistently with approximately 298% more seating capacity, why does CSO and MEMI think they can?
Okay, sir, I have to cut you off.
A little
Thank
bit,
you.
just a tiny bit.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Chuck Kelly, and longtime East Sider, and now I live in Northern Kentucky. And first of all, thank you all for listening to us. I think you all listen very patiently, and you're in the hot seats. We all know that. And so again, thank you. And before I go on, I would like to just thank everyone I worked with. Some of the finest people I've ever worked with in my life have been on the Save Coney Islanders. I mean that. And I'll treasure those memories forever. Longtime friendships, thank you. I've never seen such an impassioned group of people about anything in my entire life. And I'm 61 years old. I've gone, I'm a local pediatrician, and really that's why I'm here. I'll be brief. I'm embarrassed to say, I went to Coney my whole life, growing up. I'm embarrassed to say, though, the past 10 years, I really haven't gone to Coney that much. We had company picnics from our office, and that was fun, but I really didn't go to the pool much. But again, I'm a local pediatrician. I work in the inner city, Covington, and you try to make connections with kids. So what'd you do this summer? What'd you do this summer? Well, I just was completely blown away what Coney Island means to the children of the area. And you all know that. I cannot overstate that. As my colleague Becky said, it is going one day to Coney is these children's summer vacation. It means a lot to us, but to the kids, we can't even imagine. So Coney isn't. So many times in the paper, I was so frustrated. Oh, we're trampling on people's memories. That's baloney. It's not a museum. It's not a thing of the past. It's a living, breathing piece of magic. Coney is, and it has a future. And I'm here for all these people, these wonderful people, but for my patients, that it means so much. They can go with their grandparents, their parents, their siblings, and their friends. And we all know that anxiety and depression is at an all-time high, And study after study shows that being outdoors, getting sunlight, vitamin D, being with family, being unplugged, recreational activity greatly diminishes anxiety and depression. Concert will not do that at all. None of these children that I serve in the inner city will ever go to a concert, ever. So please, I'm not sure what you all did in the past. I want to think that you did work behind the scenes. I'm not sure. That's in the past now. But please, an impassioned plea from the children of Greater Cincinnati, do what you can. Can you make a phone call? Something, please, work after hours for all of us and for them. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm not nervous.
Thank you.
My name is Chris Weeby. I grew up in Mount Lookout. I'm 74 years old. And in 1969, they took me from my cozy home.
What's your address?
They took me from my cozy home, and they put me in that jungle. And in that jungle of Vietnam, I won a Silver Star. That's what I did. And I have fellow veterans that play ping pong out there. One especially is a guy that got hit in the leg. He loves the game of ping pong. We accommodate his disability, and to take that away from him is something I don't want to do. Now, I want coexistence. There is enough room for everybody to be happy. That little blue spot is the pool. That's 2 acres out of 148. Not enough to bother anybody. I believe the plan is to put the venue over here on the west side of the property. I've talked to civil engineers. There's hardly any basis for the size of Lake Como. That's a water retention lake that can be cut in half. That can accommodate all that parking. There is no need to demo this pool. Everything's fine over here. Everything's fine. With the filling in at Lake Como, 50%, there's plenty of parking over here. Moonlight Gardens can exist right there. And every time I've gone out to Coney, and I go down 3 days a week, by the time the Riverbend people come in, all the Coney guys are gone. I guess my point is, and there's a flood control issue, and I've dealt with that too. If there's a flood, if something can be done about the flooding, a civil engineer that I talked to said it's a real possibility. That pool can be a very profitable entity, the Anderson Township. Everybody wins. CSO wins, they'll sell it to us, and we got to come up with a price. They got their venue and their parking. We got our pool, and everybody's happy. I do not see why you have to fill dirt in that little blue spot.
Thank you. Kevin?
Hi, Kevin.
Kevin Mishak, 8433 Holiday Hills Drive, resident Anderson Hills. I'd like to speak in defense of this board. This board of trustees knew nothing about the sale of this property. They knew nothing.
Excuse me, please. If everyone could let everybody have their 3-minute discussion, that would be perfect. Thank you.
Kevin, you're supposed to address the board too. Address us.
I know this board knew nothing. This was the sale of this land by the private owners to a nonprofit was not disclosed to anyone prior to the sale, including the government or anybody else. It's a fact of law. It was registered when it was done deal. Second, most of the property in Coney Island does not reside in Anderson Township. Third, the Anderson Township does not have the ability to pass laws or do ordinances or penalize private property. They cannot tell us what to do with our property. Thank you very much. All right? I apologize for the insults and the shame that have been heaped upon you that you didn't deserve. I do. All right? I come here on a regular basis. Most of those behind me have never, ever attended a trustee meeting. And shame on y'all. All right? I appreciate all the time and effort that each one of you that are employed by this township put into this community.
Okay,
right?
okay, come on. Right? Nobody booed when you were speaking, though. Come on.
Everybody
That's not
in
fair.
this room has memories from Coney. I took my kids to Coney. All right? I've been there. We've all been there. You know what? It's somebody else's land. Somebody else came up with $6-8 million and bought it. All right? A non-profit bought it. All right? Just as
okay,
if
come on,
anybody
please.
in this room were to sell their property to somebody else, no one else can tell you how to do what you want with that property. All right?
Come on.
And
Hey,
there we
please,
go.
sir, please, stop.
I
That's enough.
appreciate each and every employee and volunteer and trustee in this room. And again, I apologize for those who don't understand how this works.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Okay, everyone, please. Please. Okay. I think we're going to cut it off.
Okay, if I may. Excuse me. If I may, please. I very much appreciate the gentleman who spoke from Kentucky and talked about the fact. Could you please? Okay, first let me back up. My name is Vicki Earhart. I am your township administrator for those folks that live in Anderson Township. I am the equivalent, most of you understand, city managers. That is my role. I oversee the day-to-day operations of the township, and I report directly to the Anderson Township Board of Trustees. I appreciate the gentleman from Kentucky who spoke about the ability to come here and speak. Every third Thursday, with the exception of some where we move meetings for scheduling issues, we hold this public forum where people can come and address the board directly. Everyone is given 3 minutes. I will tell you, this is the first time in a long time that we have had to cut the public forum off because of the number of people. Those who were not able to speak tonight, if you do wish to speak at a future meeting, our next meeting, and this is one where we've had to move it for scheduling purposes, is April the 11th at 3:30 p.m. in this room. You are welcome to come and speak. We typically do not have such a large crowd. We are glad to hear from you. Our board has always been very open to hear from folks, whether it be at these meetings, whether it be through email or voicemail, or direct phone calls. And I think one of the things that we pride ourselves on as a township is our elected officials and our staff are available to you. We do our best. We did have I know I personally had about 20 phone calls today. I spoke to a lot of the folks that called us. We returned calls. We are listening. We have been listening. To go back in time, on December the 14th at 10 till 1, we received a call from a representative from Riverbend at 10 till 1. He called and said, oh, by the way, Coney Island is closing. The Cincinnati Symphony is buying it. I am frantically on my computer emailing my board to let them know that a media release is coming out at 1:15. That is how much notice that we had. And the Cincinnati Enquirer did ask us whether or not we knew. We turned over public records verifying that. Our fire chief had emailed me about 20 minutes before and said he heard rumor. We did not know. We absolutely did not know. Any reports that we knew in advance are not accurate. When I notified my trustees, they were shocked. They did not know. We all watched it on the news together. We got the media release the same time, pretty much you all did, maybe a couple minutes before. But that's how we found out. Since that time, we have heard from our residents. We have heard from folks that have enjoyed Coney over the years. And we have shared that information with the Symphony and with MEMI. The first thing that we did after learning, we reached out to Jonathan Martin, the CEO of the Cincinnati Symphony Orchestra. I also made a personal call to Cheryl Long, who is the city manager for the city of Cincinnati, because city council members were going on the radio and making statements that were unknown to us what was going on. So we did reach out. Trustee Girth, me, and several of our other staff members met with the CSO in mid-January. We expressed the concerns that we have heard from our residents and others. We made it clear that we were disappointed that we had not been informed in advance, that our residents had not been informed in advance. We were very vocal about that. We were very vocal about wanting to have a seat at the table, and that continues to this day. We did communicate, I personally did communicate with Jonathan Martin, saying that we wanted to have a seat at the table for everything that could impact our community. We have met twice since that day. We were shocked this morning. We knew that Hamilton County Building Department had issued a demolition permit for the pool, but I will tell you, we found out because our public works crews were down along Kellogg Avenue and saw the demolition going on. That's how we found out today, okay? I have been monitoring the news media all day, looking for photos and videos and other things that have been submitted. We were not informed prior to this morning that the demolition was going to occur today. We did not know. The only entity that has the ability to stop the demolition is the Hamilton County Building Department, which issued the permit. We do not have the authority to tell them to stop. We do not have the authority to go down there and demand that they remove the equipment. That is not within our authority. A number of people have made comments about greed, about the township, and I know some of the greed comments are focused on the Cincinnati Symphony. I'm not saying all those fingers were pointed at us, but there has been some miscommunication about the township benefiting from this. Riverbend and the PNC Pavilion are in Anderson Township. For those that don't know, when you drive in the main entrance to Coney, when you go down Sutton or you turn right off of Kellogg into the main entrance of Coney, the portion on the left side is in Anderson Township. The portion on the right is in the city of Cincinnati, okay? So we had Sunlight Pool, and I'm saying had because they're destroying it right now. We have Riverbend. We have the PNC Pavilion that is in our community. The entire time that those entities have been in our community, we have not received one property tax dollar for Riverbend or for PNC Pavilion because they are owned by the Symphony, which is a nonprofit tax-exempt entity. We did receive a little over $21,000 per year in property tax revenue from Coney Island for Sunlight Pool. So Anderson Township as a community, we are losing annual revenue of over $21,000 a year because that property is now owned by the Symphony and it is nonprofit, it is tax exempt. Okay? We do not have the authority to issue a ticket tax. We are trying to work through the legislature. You've heard many reports, seen reports in the paper that the Cincinnati is going to get about $1.5 million in ticket tax. That is a benefit that municipalities have. Cities, villages can charge a ticket tax. Townships currently do not have the authority to do that. So there are other townships in the state of Ohio that have Jamboree in the Hills or have, for a while it was the Renaissance Festival. I don't know if that's still accurate. But other communities where they are impacted by these large events that are put on by nonprofits, townships don't have the authority to tax. That is something we are working to change to diminish whatever impact Riverbend and PNC Pavilion will continue to have on this community. But right now, we don't have that authority. So what I am saying to you is when you're talking about greed or how the township is going to benefit, or one of the gentlemen mentioned going to restaurants on Beachmont Avenue or some of our other establishments. We don't get a sales tax. We don't have a ticket tax. We get property tax revenue. That's the source of our revenue. That's it. We do have a few other things, and for those that want to stick around, we are going to be talking about our budget later on today. Property taxes, levies, that kind of thing. This has been for the last 15 years or more. We have been trying to get a ticket tax to cover our expenses for that venue and frankly for others. Now we're not looking to tax, park district events or movie theaters or school events, anything like that. But the accusations have been made, and I'm not saying necessarily this evening, but a lot of people have called me. People have emailed and accused our board of doing this for profit. We're not gaining anything off of this. And if I could, ma'am, I cut public forums over, so just want to address a few more things. There's also been discussion about it being a community pool. In many, many ways, it is a community pool. It has been a community pool. But it is not owned by a public entity. It is not a true community pool that would be owned for some communities where they have a pool that is owned by the government. It is a private development. It is private property. It is no different than my home or your business. It is private. We do not have the authority to tell private people, private owners, property owners, what they can and cannot do with their property short of, our zoning regulations, that kind of thing. But we cannot tell somebody you cannot sell your home. We cannot tell somebody you cannot sell your pool. Coney Island, and I know many of you have heard this, and I'm not trying to be repetitive, I'm trying to explain for those that maybe haven't heard it. Coney Island, the business, was not sold by the prior owners. Coney Island was shut down by the prior owners. They sold the property to the Cincinnati Symphony Orchestra. And the property is not for sale. Excuse me, if I could, as I mentioned, public forum is completed. I just want to provide you with the information that I have. It is a situation where it is not for sale. We have communicated your concerns over and over again. We have communicated. We did not pass a resolution. It's not appropriate for our board to say you can't do this because we don't have that authority. So we have communicated though, and we've communicated it repeatedly. The concerns that this community has and the fact that many people love that pool. We know that. Somebody asked how many of us have been to Coney. I was not to Coney. I wasn't maybe once because my family lived on the west side and we could not afford it. But my husband was a lifeguard there. He was in the rowboat. He was in the rowboat for many years. And I know that all of our staff and our elected officials have been to Coney. We hear you. We know. Our hearts ache for you. We know that it's a problem. But it's not fair to say we didn't do anything. We did everything within our power. And we have done everything within our power to communicate. And I will let you know that this board will continue, and we are continue. I am mandated by this board to continue to, excuse me, sir. I am mandated by my bosses, the elected officials of this community, to continue to push for the needs and the desires of this community by trying to mitigate any issues regarding noise, regarding traffic, regarding any of the things that were brought up here and brought up in other situations. We will continue to work with the Cincinnati Symphony Orchestra. We'll continue to work with the city of Cincinnati, and we'll continue to push what your concerns are. So with that, I do want to point out that Riverbend and PNC Pavilion are planned to stay. For those that did not hear, Jonathan Martin, the CEO of the Cincinnati Symphony, did an interview on WVXU yesterday. It is online for those that want to listen, and explains a little bit about their plans. I don't want to speak for the CSO or Mr. Martin, but they did talk about preserving Moonlight Gardens if they can, and other things. They have also told us that all of the property that they currently own that is not for sale, they need for their proposal. So that is all I have to say. I'm going to turn it back to Mrs. Stone.
Okay, no more comments, sorry. Public forum is closed. We'll get into, we may be commenting on that. Okay, we could talk after the meeting. Lexi, do you have any public forum? I guess they don't want to hear what they got to speak, but they don't want to hear what we have to say.
That's okay.
Oh, we're going to take a break.
Okay.
1 minute break. We're going to switch the tape.